Hello and a massive good morning, everybody. I'm just checking that we're live here and showing up on the page. Come and say hello and let us know that you're with us. Very, very excited about this morning's call, I have to say. This is definitely going to be one of my personal favourites. First of all, I'm Holly Power. I'm here hosting for my friends at Timely, and I'm really, really excited to welcome a very, very special guest onto our live video today. Now, before we chat to her, I want to give her the intro that she deserves. She's been working extremely hard this year to create something selfless and inspirational. Now, when COVID hit, many people across the country were hit extremely hard, with loneliness, depression, and anxiety having a profound impact on the mental health of many of us. As a psychotherapist, Ruth recognised how this would negatively impact so many people, and realising there was a limit to how much she could do alone, she realised that she could deliver so much more as a community, and she created the Help Hub. The Help Hub has over 800 qualified therapists volunteering to help those who need emotional support, providing over a staggering 2,500 sessions per week, totally free, for those in need of help with mental health during this time. Now, I know that Time has been a huge supporter of Ruth in her amazing mission, and she's been recognised by national papers such as The Mail, The Guardian and The Independent, and on Sky News and on BBC Radio. She's even been recognised by the Prime Minister himself, who wrote her a personal letter awarding her the Points of Light Award. There is no question that Ruth is more than proving that community support and kindness is key to moving forward in a positive way. And whilst I know she may not be so keen to toot her own trumpet, I am doing it for her this morning. Ruth, welcome. A massive, massive thank you for joining us here today. We really appreciate you being here.
Hi.
First of all, tell us about your journey with Help Hub, Ruth.
Well, as you said, I'm a psychotherapist, so my daily job is to look after people and help people with emotional difficulties, from mild to extreme. It varies a lot, my work. And I had been speaking to the CEO of Blenheim Palace, which is my neighbour, in a way. I live next to a palace and sadly don't live in one. Dominic Kerr is the CEO of Blenheim Palace, and they have some clout around here locally and a budget to help with mental health services in the area. So I'd been talking to him about setting up some kind of service for people here in West Oxfordshire to help those who can't afford therapy, because it's not cheap. You know, it is quite expensive, and the NHS waiting lists are getting longer and longer, and obviously now even longer. And when COVID started to arrive, I was following the Guardian live stream and watching this thing coming over to the UK, and I got quite anxious about it. I live on my own. I also have Lyme disease, which is a problem that can really give you chronic fatigue and quite difficult to cope with situations if it's in a bad place at the time. And I was thinking about how I would feel, how my neighbour, I've got a 97-year-old neighbour who you know, is on her own, thinking how's she going to cope, and then all the other people I know in the community who might need some support. So I phoned up Dominic again and I said, we need to change the plan. We need to produce something that is a really, really simple booking system, a bit like booking your supermarket shop. You know, you book a slot and then it gets delivered. So a very similar concept. I said, we need a really simple website, and we need some therapists to support that. And I thought, well, 10, 20 therapists would be great, you know, maybe just supporting the area. So Dom did his make it so thing, because he's got 350 staff and a whole innovation team inside that, and created a website for me, which was wonderful. And then I was speaking to someone on The Guardian and said, this is what I'm doing. And they said, great, we'll run the story. And after that, the story went national. And in particular, Sky News and the Zoe Ball Show, we called out for more volunteers, and we ended up with about 800 volunteer therapists right at the beginning. Because at the beginning, we all really wanted to help. Everybody wanted to do something, didn't they? It was really, really important. And we all thought it might be over by, I don't know, Christmas or before, which obviously it isn't. So we had an awful lot of support. And then with that national coverage, obviously the word got out as well. So in the first lockdown, we were incredibly busy with lots of people with lots of different issues, varying from I'm really lonely to I can't cope, my husband's been made redundant, or I've lost someone. So I decided to recruit therapists only on the service, because they can cope with any extreme. We know how to cope with what comes, metaphorically through the door. So that's the service. It's not psychotherapy or counselling, because it's 20 minutes long, and that's very deliberate. This is what we call online emotional support, which means
Right.
anyone can call it and get help with anything that they need in the moment.
It's just an unbelievable achievement to have built that number of people who want to come and get involved in something like this. And I think, particularly in a year like we've all had, to see such community spirit and to see so many people saying, I want to give you my time, I want to help as many people as possible, is just so reassuring for us and how we can all move forward as a nation, because we've all wanted to pitch in and help each other. And that's a really, really powerful thing. You must be so incredibly proud of what you've created, Ruth. This is such an unbelievable achievement.
There hasn't really been time, actually, to sort of enjoy it, because I work full time anyway as well. But it's been a real roller coaster, actually, all the way through. That the highs of getting all the volunteers has been fantastic. But one of the things about the service one of the things about this year for me, I think, is that I'm going through the same thing that all my clients are, and all the people who call the Help Hub are. And that is massive. It's the first time in my career. I've been a therapist for about 18 years, and it's the first time I've been in that situation. That's quite hard, because I'm fatigued too. I can't wait for a Christmas break at the moment. I'm really crawling to the end of this week. And that's difficult. And I suspect that in the salon industry, it's the same. I mean, even being put on furlough or having to close your salon, that's incredibly stressful, isn't it? It must have been a really time for people.
Yeah, I think it is. And as we chatted about yesterday, didn't we? For salon owners, for therapists, we go into this industry because it's essentially a caring industry. And we spend every day connected to people. We spend every day chatting to people, getting to know people. And suddenly that all stops. And we lose all that connection that we have, all those bonds that we've built with people. Because, as salon owners, it's not just about cutting hair. We know that. It's not just about painting nails. It's not just about doing a massage. It is about making people look and feel good. And subsequently, that makes us feel good, because as therapists in this industry, that's our role. Our role is there to make people improve how they look and feel. And that's very, very rewarding. So for that to be taken away, I think has had an impact on salon owners. But they've also seen the impact that it's had to their teams and the impact that it's had on their clients as well. But of course, with mental health, it's a subject that a lot of people don't really understand that much about. And that's why I think it's incredible to have created something which gives access to this emotional support to help people take those first steps to actually reaching out. How does the Help Hub work? If I was to say, look, I'm feeling anxious, what would I need to do in order to reach out and use the service?
So you go to our website, which is thehelphub.co.uk. Don't forget the bit, and book a session like a supermarket shop, and you'll be able to choose a time and a date depending on availability. And then you can then expect a call or a Skype or whatever you arrange with the therapist. They will come back to you, and you'll have your session at whatever it is, 2:30 on Tuesday. So it's very, very simple. You can ask for further sessions, you can book further sessions, but you won't get the same therapist each time. But what you will get each time is a professional who knows how to help you. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, sometimes just talking to someone can be really helpful. And often, I think, particularly salon owners, I think it's quite a lonely world, isn't it? When you're at the top, you're having to to make sure your staff are okay, you're making sure that your clients are okay, you're also trying to make your business survive. So it's quite hard to then reach out for support. And sometimes somebody that you don't know who has no agenda but is a professional and knows how to help is exactly what you need. So I think that it could be quite a helpful service, both for you and your clients and your staff, actually. It is
Yeah.
open.
I think that key word you said there, overwhelm, is something I see, you know, hugely within our industry and within our community. People just feeling like, I've got to keep the business going at the moment, which financially can be a struggle, that they've got to keep, if they have a team, they've got to keep paying their team. And whilst there is furlough payments, sometimes those have to be paid up front, and there can be difficulties with that. Managing those teams as well, making sure whether they're in, that they're managing their anxiety around wearing masks and anxiety around being possibly exposed to something they're not comfortable with. You know, there's lots and lots of different levels of things going on here. And we then see, and then they come home from work and there's a family to look after, and there's children, and there's pressure to deliver because it's Christmas coming up, and there's lots of presents to buy and things to do. And because it's been a difficult year, the kids have obviously suffered as well this year, haven't they? A lot, you know, school's been up and down, they haven't been around their friends, that they feel huge pressure to deliver a most wonderful Christmas as well, to try and, you know, make up for this year. And I think there's just this massive overwhelm for people, and they are just feeling totally that they're just never going to be able to get everything done, to try and, you know, live up to this sort of this pressure that they're putting on themselves, you know, to deliver the most perfect, wonderful Christmas.
A bit like, you know, you pick up a heavy brick, but you can carry it, can't you? But then if you carry it a bit further, it gets heavier and heavier and heavier until you can barely hold on to it, and you have to put it down or you drop it. And it's that, isn't it? We've all been carrying this sort of heaviness and this fear as well, you know, a very tangible fear about our own safety and that of our families and friends. And it's got heavier and heavier. It got lighter over the summer, and maybe we put it to one side. And now we're back in this again, and we're facing the dark months, you know, January and February, which are always difficult months, both for business, but also emotionally. They're quite hard. It's usually when you might want to try and escape somewhere for a while, but where can you go? So this is a really heavy thing. And I think over the year also, we've all been holding our breath, haven't we? Going, right, I'll just get through this bit, and then it'll be okay. And then it's not okay. So it's really difficult. I've been very fortunate because, well, I call it fortunate, I've been able to take my work online, but I never wanted to get in front of a screen all day, you know. And we've all had to make these adjustments to our lives that maybe aren't what we dreamt of or what we wanted for ourselves. And I think for that, one of the things that I often tell myself is that this is a pause. This year, I'm going to just write off as a pause. It might have been a year where I've learned a lot. I've certainly had to learn a lot about working online. I miss my clients. I miss seeing people face to face, probably like salon owners do as well. And it's really difficult, but it is a pause, and it's a time to take stock, I think, a time to think about the years to come. And actually, I think a lot of us emotionally have sort of sat back and gone, okay, so this is a time to regroup a bit. There are positives possibly to take out of this as well. I mean, I work online now. I could decide that I'll always be online, and then I can live anywhere, you know, which maybe I'll get a camper van and go and work online, you know, that'd be lovely. But you know, that we all have different dreams, don't we? So there are positives, but there are also, this has been a very heavy weight that we've carried around with us.
Absolutely. Your brick analogy is wonderful. I've never heard that analogy before. And that is so very true, isn't it? That you think, yes, I've got hold of it, I can handle this. But the longer and longer you carry it, the harder, and eventually you do have to set it down. And you are right that it has been a pause. And what we've seen with a lot of communities in our industry is people reassessing how they want to move forward with their business. And they said, actually, you know what, it's a difficult time at the moment in business, and I'm going to look at what I really want to do moving forward. I'm going to look at how I want my business to move forward in the most positive of ways. So I think it's important as well for people to pull all the positives that have come out of taking this time off, albeit not voluntarily. And I think there's given a lot of people an opportunity to grow and change, and as you say, learn more skills. People have sort of reconnected with maybe their original training or their why as to why they started their business in the first place, and it's given them like a refresh, and they've had a chance to sort of fall back in love with their business as well. But I do think, and I'm not sure if you agree with this, Ruth, but that some people almost feel like they can't share their wins a little bit because there is so much negative that's happened this year. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think that's really hard. You know, I was really conscious when I was saying taking something positive out of this, thinking, oh gosh, you know, salon owners, maybe that's, you know, it's been really tough on you. And I've been lucky, I've been able to keep trading, you know, although I would have loved to be on furlough at times, you know, but there are pros and cons to everybody's situation. And I think that's really important to remember and think about, that you can take something good out of this. I mean, I have, for example, many clients with chronic anxiety, and some of them have loved this because they haven't had to go in the world. They've been able to be inside and not deal with anybody or anything, and their families have been around them when normally they would go to school and work, and they loved it. And they got really anxious when the world started to unlock over the summer. You know, oh, I don't know if I can do this. So it's different for all of us, and I think maybe there's an obligation on some of us who are finding positivity out of it to share it, because it might help other people. You know, why not talk about it sensitively, but you know, it's a good thing. We've got to find something good out of the year, and it's been a rough year.
Well, it really, really has. And I guess one of those things that we can highlight today is, you know, that, you know, organizations like the Help Hub have been created. Do you think that's something that would have happened without COVID this year?
Not with the same impetus. I mean, we basically set up a business in about 3 weeks, you know, and I was very lucky. I had a lot of support from friends and neighbours to pull it all together, including Benham, obviously, who were very instrumental in it. But no chance. I mean, I lived it. When I wasn't working, I was setting up the charity, which we finally got charitable status for last week, which was great. The wheels of any kind of bureaucracy move very slowly at the moment. But no, I don't think so. I think I would have set up the bursary, but it would have been a lot smaller, and yeah, it would have helped as many people. So it is a great thing, and it will continue beyond the pandemic, because
Yes.
there is need. So as long as I can make it continue, as long as I can have the energy and enough people to help me, it'll carry on, because it's needed. You know, it was needed before the pandemic. So yeah.
I think as well, and again, we touched on this yesterday, Ruth. A lot of people haven't experienced mental health or mental health issues, so they don't necessarily understand what other people are going through. And I think it's so important to pull on that, isn't it? That if you have a team or you have clients who are struggling with anxiety, loneliness, depression, to be able to have an element of understanding for it is going to make you ultimately a better business owner, a better boss, a better service provider, because ultimately we are there to help people. We are there to make them feel better in themselves. So what sort of advice would you suggest to a salon owner to help them to understand mental health with a little bit more proficiency?
Well, I'll answer that question in a second, if I may, but there is a real irony, I think, in the caring professions, and I include salon owners as that, and your staff, your front line, you know,
Yeah.
very. And in fact, you know, in the unlock, when people have been able to come and have their hair done, when I went out to have my hair done, it was the first people I'd spoken to face for months. And so my hairdresser's absolutely wonderful. He's lovely, Martin. And you know, it was so nice to see him and have a chat, just to chat. And I could sense myself jabbering away because I hadn't said anything for such a long time. But I think, you know, some people won't be like me and just excited to be at the hairdressers, and they may be quite withdrawn. And I think, you know, find out. I couldn't tell you in 5 minutes, what you need to look for, other than think about, are they how they normally are? Are they how they used to be? That's quite a useful benchmark.
Yeah.
Are they able to speak coherently in normal sentences? What is their eye contact like? That's really, I know you always look through the mirror, but are they looking at you? Do they look a bit glazed or a bit phased by things as well? You can usually get a sense, I think, and I would imagine that people working in salons are quite sensitive to other
Mhm.
people's expressions anyway. You get very used to reading people. So if it doesn't feel right, then just say, how are you doing? Are you okay? And explore who they've got around them. Have you been in touch with your children, your family, your friends, whatever? Who are you talking to at the moment? Just very simple questions. You can get an
Mm.
enormous amount of information out of somebody by just asking really simple things without
Mm.
actually going, I don't think you look right.
Yeah.
It's much more gentle, lots of leading questions where they can't just give you a yes or a no, can be really helpful as well. And then, if you think they might need a little bit of help, just make something up. Say, oh, I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and she found this thing called the Help Hub, and she just had 20 minutes chat, and she said it really helped her. Gosh, it's great, isn't it? And then leave it there.
That's such a powerful tool there, and just popping that out in a very, very relaxed way, so your clients have an opportunity to sort of process that information and take it on board in the way that they choose. And like you touched on earlier about therapy can be extremely expensive for people, and there is of course that fear, isn't there? Oh, well, if I ring, are they then going to suddenly charge me or try and sign me up to months and months of counseling? And that's not what they want. They just want somebody to talk to for 20 minutes to maybe offload or just discuss something or just talk about how they're feeling. We all know the power of that. We all know how much better we feel. A problem shared is a problem halved, as they've always said. And I'm somebody who talks when I'm sad or worried. I talk very freely, but not everybody around me necessarily does. And I think it's wonderful to create a safe space where that person is totally removed from your world, because there is obviously an attachment to it. People think, well, I don't want to reach out to my parents or my friends or my partner or my children because I don't want them to worry about me. I don't want them to think I'm struggling. I don't want to put that on them. But the Help Hub, of course, takes that away, doesn't it? Because you're speaking to somebody who is virtually trained to help you, but also going to keep your confidentiality at all time, but somebody who is removed from your personal situation.
Going with the metaphor, they kind of carry your brick for you for a bit.
That's
They help you just for 20 minutes, maybe just make sense of something, or they help you explore what it feels like to tell someone how you feel. Sometimes when you externalize what's internal, it lighten the burden just a little bit, and maybe enough to help you talk to other people. It's almost like a rehearsal.
Yes.
And that can be really, really helpful to people. And of course they can call again. We have some people who want a call every couple of days, and so far been able to have the capacity for that. But we again, as salon owners, the same as therapists, we're also struggling with fatigue now. So our volunteers have dropped down quite a bit actually, and we're re-recruiting more volunteers because we're all carrying bricks.
Of course. Yeah, of course. And when everybody's gone back into full-time jobs and everything, and they've had their time has been taken up more, and they've got other things to worry about. How can we help you get more volunteers, Ruth? What would be the path that our viewers today could they reach out? Can they share this video? Can they tag any friends that they have that work in that field? How could we help you?
Anything that you can do to talk positively about the Help Hub to anyone. And yeah, if you know therapists, please ask them to get in touch. There's a volunteer page on the website. Spread the word, because it'll come. It's just that it's I don't know if you've ever seen that film Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. We've built it, and it's running, it's ticking over. But I think that next year we need it to be even bigger. You know, it'll grow. I think as far as therapists go, we're doing a lot to drive our own campaigns as well, to try to get them. This is psychotherapists and counsellors. So hopefully that will happen. And we've got a few awards coming up. So with a bit of media coverage, that might help too. And this, of course, which is really great.
There's been some very exciting recognition around you, hasn't there? Are you willing to share what potentially might be happening, or are you going to keep quiet until we get a big reveal?
Well, it's kind of funny, but on Thursday night, I'm going to a virtual, so I'll actually be here, a virtual awards ceremony with Good Morning Britain, GMTV, where I've up as a candidate for someone who's helped lots of people with loneliness, which is fantastic, because it could be great publicity for us. And a few other bits and pieces are sort of coming up that I'm not quite sure about, but yeah. So I'm in a bubble, thankfully. So the friends who I'm in their bubble, they're coming here and they'll be sitting in the awards ceremony with me. So I won't be on my own, which is great, because I feel a bit silly. But I've got to wear a smart dress and, you know, do some makeup for a change.
Any excuse to put on some makeup and a nice dress. I hope there'll be some fizz happening as well if you do receive an award. Well, even if you don't receive an award, it's a fantastic accolade. Yeah, absolutely. And you also, as I mentioned in your intro earlier, got acknowledged by our Prime Minister. So tell us about that. How did that happen?
Again, I don't really know how these things happen. I think people nominate you and they write. But actually, with the Prime Minister thing, we were very lucky. We got some free advertising from Jack FM, which is a local radio station in Oxford. And I think the guy who was doing the selections heard it and phoned me and said, you know, would you be happy to be put forward for this? And then, yeah, it was all, and I've got, you know, a lovely letter and certificate framed on the window, on the wall. You can't see it from here, but yeah, it's been a very odd year for me in that way. It's been lovely, but usually my work is so private, you know,
Yes.
and suddenly I've been in the media, which isn't really my thing particularly, but I've got used to it. And maybe that's one of the positives that's come out of it. Actually, I've found a side of myself that I'd forgotten I had, I think, because I haven't been like this for years and years and years. And that's been really lovely, actually. And also the people that I've worked with to put the Help Hub together we're actually going out tonight. Dominic at Blenheim has given us, he's taking us out to the Blenheim lights for free, and we're going to have mulled wine and a little look around the lights, because I'm the only one who knows all of the trustees, because I've connected, so they get to finally meet, which will be really nice. Yeah, lots of
That's very exciting. There's a lot of love, I think, for what you're doing, and just looking at the comments at the moment coming through that are zooming through on my phone. That's where I keep looking. It's all just massive love outpouring from the audience, saying thank you for what you're doing and just wow what you're creating. And I know that for a lot of people that's watching this right now, they probably really feel a lot of what you're doing. They feel emotionally connected to how rewarding and incredible your work is, because we are people who sit face to face with clients most of the time. We get to know our clients at such an in-depth level. We know their children's names. We know what color they love on their nails. We know where they're going away. We know about their relationships with their partners. We start to get to know them at such an intense level, to then be separated from that and to potentially lose that bond where we provide that little bit of safety and security for people has been difficult. So to watch a business like this, an organization like this unfold to create a space for people, I know that many people in the industry would find that just unbelievably wonderful, and I know I do, and I think it's absolutely incredible what you have achieved. And I know, as you said, you're not somebody who likes to toot your own trumpet so much, so I wanted to toot it a little bit for you and actually just really shout out about how incredible all the work you have done is. And I know that has obviously changed tens of thousands of lives and helped people deal with a very unexpected and difficult situation, which is just unbelievably rewarding for you, I'm sure. Where are you taking the Help Hub next year? What's the dream for the organisation?
Well, I guess we don't know where COVID is going, obviously, and there's been some more news yesterday about a new strain, so we don't know how long this is going to go on. So we have funding, and we're continuing to get funding, so we're ticking over fine. We just need to grow, and that will take time, but we keep going. And then beyond COVID, or when we're in a world where we live with COVID, we are going to have a mental health epidemic of an unknown scale at this point, but it's going to be enormous, and that scares me. And it's how I felt right at the beginning, actually. I just felt really, really upset and scared about all the people who, won't have someone to reach out to. So I'll do everything I can to keep this running and grow it, and offer it around. We're already recognised by the NHS, and it's very strange, the whole phenomenon of how, and you probably know this as well, when people reach out and when they don't, I call it, it's rather gruesome, but when people don't talk about their feelings, they're burying them alive. They'll come out eventually. So we will have a lot of people with delayed responses to this year when they finally drop their bricks or stop holding their breath. And that's where it's even more important for us to catch them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe if anybody wants to donate to the cause as well, they can do that, can they, via your website?
I will put a link up. Yes, yeah, I will, because we've just got the charitable status, so we're just setting up a Just Giving. So as soon as that's up, I'll pop it up and I'll let you know as well. But that would be great. Yeah. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Now, everybody in the audience, if you feel the need to reach out, please get in touch with the Help Hub. It is free. It's obviously confidential, and they're there to help you alleviate some of the emotional stress that the last year has brought. So if you are looking for some emotional support, it is available to you. But of course, keep an eye out for your team, keep an eye out on your clients. And if you do see anything and you can gently suggest something like the Help Hub in a very nice way, as Ruth suggested, then that is available to you, and it's available to all of your clients, it's available to all of your staff, it's available to anybody that you know, a friend, family member who might be struggling. If you have a few extra pennies, I'm sure they would very, very much appreciate the donations as well, because this is the sort of thing that we need to move forward with. We need to have a huge support for across our nation to make sure that we all come out better, faster, fitter, stronger after we recover from COVID. So Ruth, a massive, massive thank you. I really appreciate you joining us today. I know this has been an incredibly rewarding interview for me to do, because I've got to learn from you and speak to you today as well. And I very much look forward to how we can work together more in the future to help this within our industry, because I think there is so much that we can do together. So Ruth, a massive, massive thank you. I'm just going to end our little live here. Is there anything you'd like to say before we finish off?
Well, it's been lovely to talk to you, actually. Yeah, and it's really made me think quite a lot about how people in your industry, how this has affected them. And I've always felt terribly sorry for my hairdresser and, the people who work within his salon, because it's been a really rocky year. But this pause has been a chance to reassess, and good luck with that. That's what I want to say. Good luck. I hope it goes really well for you. And the great thing is, people like me always want their hair coloured and cut. And there's no way I'm great.
Yeah, me too. I'm in tomorrow and I cannot wait. So thank you again, Ruth. It was lovely talking to you, and thank you for everybody watching and coming and hanging out with us today. Please donate if you can. Pop any questions in the comments. Share this video far and wide so we can get as many people hearing about the Help Hub as possible. And of course, if you need them, please reach out. They are there for you. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again next week.